Hi, this is Jonathan J. People often ask me what actually happens on our large Zoom meetings that are exclusively for my private client group. Well, we do hot seats, we solve problems, we discover what the challenges are and we solve them, and we find out the deals that people are completing. But sometimes something throws me a curveball. Now, in this little clip that you're about to see, one of my clients says, "Jonathan, let's do a role play." And this is in an environment with 100 people. He hasn't told me what it's going to be about. So he just puts me on the spot and does a role play where he pretends to be the seller of a business. I act as the buyer of the business, and he's a tough customer as well. He doesn't want to negotiate the price. He doesn't want to do anything like that at all. So what you're going to see in the next few minutes is how I handle that role play. And at the end of the role play, you'll hear myself and the client have a conversation about how he can improve his own performance on the phone in order to get the results that he wants. So I thought you might be interested in this sneak preview, if you like, of a private client group Zoom meeting. I hope you enjoy it. So where are we at in this conversation?
I've talked to Maria, maybe, and you've got the data, right? You've got like the data in front of you after talking with them, right?
Okay, yep.
So like my assistant talked with them, I get the data, I know how much money they're making, I know how many employees they have.
So I've worked out how much it's worth to me.
Exactly.
Okay, so Sergio, yeah, this looks like a great business. I think we would be interested in it. We look at businesses like this every day. I mean, like 4 or 5 a day, 20, 25 a week. So tell me, what did you have in mind as the value?
Well, I really don't know. That's why I was calling you to see what you think this is worth.
Okay,
I've never really been selling my business or anything. I never really thought of it. So
to be fair, it's not for me to put a number, to put words in your mouth, because it's your business, and we've been talking for 20 minutes, but you've been running it for 20 years. So what sort of figure? What do you need? Tell me what you need.
Well, I don't know how these businesses are valued, so that's kind of the issue I have.
But I mean, let's not look. I mean, neither of us are accountants, so let's not look at it from a sort of an accountancy perspective. What figure feels right to you?
Well, I mean, what I need is not like I need very little to live, of course, but I don't want to sell the business for less than it's worth. That's why if I tell you what I need, I'm going to be selling it for something that's not what it's really worth.
What? Okay, there's a number in your head. Just tell me what the number is, and we'll take it from there.
The number is, I don't know. I was thinking of like, I don't know, like $500,000.
Okay, that's that's certainly a number. That's certainly a number. Tell me, how did you reach that number? Where did that come from?
Well, I mean, we've been running this business for like 15 years. We've got a really
may I just interrupt there, actually, because this is actually a common misconception that people have, that they feel that there's a value attached with how long they've owned the business. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. The value is based upon what the business is right now, not what happened 15 years ago. So sorry to interrupt, but I hear this all the time, and it just we can't.
But there is a brand. There is a brand to it. We've been in this brand for years and years, and we've been in the neighborhood for like 10 years. Sure. Everyone knows us here, and I think we have to put a value on that. And then we have all the I don't know. I just remodeled the business like a few years ago. We changed everything, and that's why I think it's worth that amount, because we remodeled everything. Everyone knows us around here.
Sure. Well, look. Quite frankly, at that sort of figure, it's just not going to work. But also, if you don't mind me saying so, we speak to people who own businesses in your sector all day long, and what you're expecting is like so much more than what anyone else. I don't understand how your business can be worth 2-3 times what other people are doing right now. And that's the challenge that I have. It's a great business, but and I don't want to give away any confidences here, but there's someone 5 miles up the road doing the same as you. And I've got to say the numbers are just a little bit more, dare I say it, realistic.
Well, what value would you put in this business? What would you value it at? I mean, you know more.
Well, look, it's making 100,000 a year, right? Is that the number that have I got that right?
Yes, that's my salary.
All right. So look, all it's doing is creating enough profit to pay, as you said, a salary. That's all it's doing. And we want a business that after it's paid the person running it a salary, there's some profit left over. And there isn't, because it's a 100,000 euro salary and that's it. So that's our first challenge. Secondly, a business of this size with one location, quite frankly, you're not going to get the equivalent of 5 times the profit, because what that means is that I've got to work for 5 years for nothing and hope that on year 6 we make some money. But the only money we're going to make is enough money to pay someone a £100,000 salary to run it. Now you might say, oh, actually 100,000 a little high for someone to run the business. Okay, 60,000. They make 40,000. Here's the question: would you work for 5 years for nothing on the understanding that on year 6 you're going to make £40,000? I mean, no one would do that. And not only are you expecting me to work for 5 years for nothing on the understanding that I'd make £40,000 in year 6, but you're asking me to pay £500,000 for the privilege. That's why it doesn't work. So I can tell you what we're paying for other businesses, if that would be helpful.
Oh yeah, sure.
So a business just the same as yours, not a million miles away from here, lovely owners, been in business about 2 years longer than you, very, very dedicated, just like you are. We're actually doing that deal right now at just a nudge under 200,000. And they're getting a great deal because, again, it has the same challenges. You've only got a certain size. They're only making about 100,000 as well. Now, I know that's completely different to the number that you had in your head, but I think that, actually, I think I probably said it there, haven't I? It was just a number in your head. It didn't actually bear any connection to what businesses sell for. And really, at the end of the day, it's worth what someone's prepared to pay for it.
Well, the thing is, let's say we do 200, right? The thing is, $10,000 a month is a good salary for me. Like it's a good salary, what I make. And it's not worth to me like selling for 2 years of my salary. I might as well just run it for more 2 years.
Why did you contact me in the first place then?
Well, because I wanted to see what you would offer for this.
Yeah.
And because I want to retire. Of course, I'm old. I want to retire soon.
The thing is, it sounds like a great business. I'd be very interested in buying it. I'll put that out there right now. No games. I'm very interested in buying it, but we've got to talk about the price.
So let's do 200. Let's say we do like 200 for the business. Would you agree to that?
I'd have to ask my my co-director. I can't decide right by myself. It would depend how the deal is structured. Let me tell you how we do these deals. So we pay something on completion and the balance over a period of time. So that's how we do it. By the way, just so you know, no one gets a check on day one and goes off into the sunset with that check. No one does that. All right. And again, people who haven't sold a business before, with the greatest of respect, don't appreciate that, but no one does that. So we could certainly do a deal if that was acceptable to you. And if it's not, then it wouldn't work for us. So
how much would you pay me on like delaying the payments?
Well, it's not delayed. It's
financing you.
It's no difference to when you get a mortgage and you pay the mortgage over time, right? You don't complain about. No one complains about that. So what do you need on day one? Tell me what you need.
Well, what I need for what? To leave the business or to leave or?
The thing is, do you want to go and buy a Ferrari the next day?
Well, no.
Okay, cool. That's good. It's one of those things that people do and then they regret it 5 minutes later. So you're not going to buy a Ferrari. You've done very well from the business. You've got £100,000 a year. I don't know. I mean, it needs to be something for you to feel right about it.
Well, I need 120,000 or 150,000.
Never going to happen. Never going to happen.
Well, then what you're doing is you're just like stealing from people. You're just looking for a bargain. That's kind of what you're looking for.
Well, we buy businesses from business people, and business people, aren't naive consumers. They're quite capable of making up their own minds. We've done 17 deals like this in the last 17 months, and every single person is happy because they get what they want, which is an exit from the business. Because sometimes there are things that mean more than money, like, for example, being able to do something else with your time, not having to think about it all the time, not having it play on your mind all the time. So, we can do something. We just have to be sensible. Because I'm trying to avoid going to a bank. Because if I go to a bank, it's going to prolong this process 6 months, and they might say no at the end of it. So we've got to do it in a more sensible way. And we do this all the time. So it may be unusual to you because you haven't come across it before, but it is actually a very practical way of you selling the business, which is what you want, which is why you contacted us buying the business, which is what we want, which is why we're talking to you, and everyone being happy at the end of the day. We get the result that we want.
Okay.
But you've got to be sensible about what we pay on day one and what we pay you 30 days later. I mean, don't just think of it as sort of as some money on day one and then nothing happens. This is actually better than a salary because you don't have to do any work for it.
So what would you suggest on day one?
You tell me what works for you.
Well, let's do 50-50, so it's fair. Like 50% on day one and 50 on.
Let me tell you what we do with everyone else. We do 20%. 20%, and then you get all the other percents over the next couple of years.
So over 2 years.
If that works for you, I have to run the numbers. It might work for us. If it doesn't, I'll tell you. But if it works for us, I'm happy with that.
Okay. I mean, I could agree to that if for at least the first year, I continue working on the business as an employee.
Oh, so you want to sell the business and have an income?
Yes.
I don't think that would work. I don't think it would work. I tell you why it wouldn't work. And I'm doing this because I know this from experience. What would happen, Sergio, is that we wouldn't change anything. We don't want to change anything. But subconsciously, things do change. The sign on the door is slightly different. Your favorite chair is replaced. And you've got to come into somewhere where it was always yours and now it's someone else's. I don't think you'd feel comfortable with that. We could do a consultancy. We could do that.
Okay.
You'd be self-employed as a consultant rather than an employee. It's going from business owner to employee. It's a bit of a sort of step down, isn't it? I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to feel good about this. So maybe a consultancy agreement.
Okay, that could work.
So we could do like 30 or 40 on day one, balance over a couple of years. So basically, in 2 Christmases time, you've got your money. It all add up to about 200, and you're happy. We're happy, and you can go and do all that new stuff that you wanted to do.
Okay. So now out of the role play, so now how do you go about asking them for what you need?
Have we finished? I was quite enjoying that.
Oh, you're gonna keep going.
So yeah, what's the question?
Within the role play, how would you ask for their details? Because I've been asking for their details and they take weeks, or they never reply back afterwards, after we have a deal.
Oh, after you have a deal, they don't.
We say, yeah, this price, these terms, good, and then they don't reply back, and I'm like, all right.
Okay. So what happens the moment you've agreed the time, the what happens the day after? What happens immediately after?
Immediately after, I send them an email with the NDA, and I send them an email with the requirements I need from them.
Okay, the NDA is a bit late in the process if you've already agreed a deal. That would typically come earlier in the process. So I wouldn't worry about NDAs.
Before my conversation with them?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't worry about it at all. I'd only worry about it if someone asks for it. If someone asks for an NDA, fine, send it to them.
Oh, okay.
If they don't mention it, why bother? And I don't know what it's like in Spain, but in England, I say, oh, look, everything you're going to tell me is in the public domain anyway. I mean, it's not, is it? I mean, it's not limited available data in the public domain, but I say it's all in the public domain anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you say all goes quiet after you said, okay, this is the deal.
Exactly.
I think you lose the momentum. That sounds to me like you lose the momentum. So I'd be going, okay, so it sounds like we've got something here that's absolutely brilliant. So what I am going to do, I'm going to send you a heads of terms in the next 2 minutes, and then I'm going to phone you back, and we're going to go through it together. In fact, actually, you know what? I found it on my emails already. Let me fill it in while we're talking. So could you just get this information for me while we're talking? So what's your company registration number? Okay, got that. And I fill it all in. I'm going to send it all over to you. Have you got it? You go, yes. So look, we can't do signing because of COVID and all that sort of stuff. So all you need to do is just reply to the email. Let's do it so I can tell you that I've received it, saying, yes, Jonathan, agree to the heads of terms, can't wait to get started, or something like that. So because don't forget, we put it together. You've been on the Zoom screen while I've been typing here. I've read it out to you. We're happy with it. So I've emailed it to you. Have you got the email? Yes, you have. Great. Just reply to the email, save signing the document and everything. Just reply to the email saying, I've received it. Good to go. And then we can get going on the exciting stuff. And you know what? When would you like to complete on this, Sergio? When would you like to see this deal done by?
On the 30th of December.
30th of December. If we're going to do it on the 30th of December, we have to get our skates on. We have to move super, super fast. Luckily, I know quite a lot about your sector, which is why we can do this really, really quickly. But we need to just get moving on it. So you see what I'm doing here with my tone of voice? I'm keeping a momentum going. I'm keeping it going fast, fast, fast.
Okay, that makes sense. And then how would you go about renegotiating that? Because let's say they send you a document and then you see like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense at all. They're making actually a loss. They're not even like on break even. He's not taking $10,000.
I've been looking at the numbers that you sent over. When we had a phone conversation or when we had the Zoom the other day, you said you were making £100,000 profit. But I'm looking at it now and it's really only £60,000 profit because of whatever. So I don't know. I'm kind of stuck here. I still want to buy the business, but I'm not sure how it's the same value if it's only 60% of what you told me it was. What do you suggest we do?
Well, that was before COVID, of course. But after COVID is over, you will go back to normal numbers. I mean, I don't feel it's fair to value it now.
I get you. That's absolutely fine. But what we need to do then is to reassure ourselves it is going to go back to normal numbers. Oh. So this is what we'll do. I'm happy to pay you the initial amount. That's not a problem. But what we'll do is, how long do you think it's going to go back before it goes back to normal numbers?
A year.
A year. Yeah. Okay. Then the deferred element is going to start in 12 months because the business doesn't have that value for, what did you say? A year? A year. It doesn't have that value for a year.
Well, it has some value at least. Like it should have half of it.
That's what we're paying you up front. That's the value that we're paying you up front. And then the balance will start in a year. Now, just because we have to stop this at some point, we could go on all day. But the point I'm making is that this now works for me. If it doesn't work for Sergio, that's absolutely fine. But it doesn't work for me if we try and do anything different.
Okay.
I know what works for me, and that works for me. And yeah, there may be some sort of middle ground. I wouldn't necessarily slam the door on the deal, but I can be assertive in this conversation because quite frankly, if it doesn't work for me, I'm not doing it anyway. I'm on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. How many calls does it take for you to get one that is like reasonably likely to close? Because that's a thing. I'm like, if you tell me it's 1,000, I will do 1,000, but I don't know the expectations at all.
I've never actually tracked it to that level of detail, but I would probably 20, 15.
Out of 20, you get a reasonable one.
Yeah, because I only want to buy less than what it's worth. I want to start off winning.
Yeah.
I want to start off with every single one being a winner.